adventure with Jack Armstrong, the All-American Boy.
When I was a kid, somebody on the block said, have you heard there's a thing called radio? And you hear things through the air? And I said, I listened to this with incredulity. How could that be? And he said, Harold Merchant down the block has a crystal set. Come.
Oh, boy, did you see what I saw? A huge African lion jumped into the truck where Jack Armstrong, Vic, and Billy are sleeping.
And there was a Quaker Oats box with coils of wire around it. And it was wired up to a little galena. And this galena was Aladdin's lamp. You rubbed it, or you tickled it with a cat's whisker, and in came the world.
Believe you me, I want to know how Jack and his friends get out of this one. You do too.
And I remember tuning in. I lived in Boston. Tuning in, my God, Schenectady, New York. What a thrill that was.
WEAF, New York.
Of her by radio, you will find it radio. If you want to reach your heart's desire, you won't have to send her word by wire. Use an amplifier, love her by radio. Even when you're all alone, think of all the fun that they can have both night and day, listening in to what the lovey-doveys have to say. I'll bet the things they'd hear would make a bachelor's hair turn gray when you love her by the radio phone. Love her by radio. You will find it's radio. If you want to reach your heart's desire, you won't have to send her word by wire. Use an amplifier, love her by radio. Even when you're all alone.
Gradually, inventors and amateurs were creating a new industry. What had started out as a means of wireless telegraphy had become radio. For the first time in history, one person with a microphone could speak to many, influence them, perhaps change their lives. The concept borrowed the metaphor of a farmer scattering seeds across a field. Now a single speaker could scatter seeds of information, propaganda, entertainment, political and religious fervor, culture, and even hatred across the land. The farmer's phrase, the new metaphor for radio, the metaphor that changed the nation, was broadcasting.
But first of all, make up your mind. Your hearts are both in tune when you love her by the radio phone.
Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life.
I think that the world, the America that radio leaped into and fascinated was really a quieter life than what we know.
WLAG, Minneapolis.
My first recollection of radio is sitting on my uncle's lap and putting my head up next to his, and he had his arm around me, and the headphones went across both of our heads. I remember having a piece in my ear and putting my head next to his and hearing bands play from far away, dance music that was not allowed in our family.
It was just almost unbelievable. You could sit in your living room in Florida and hear a man speaking in New York, and after a while in Los Angeles, you heard people singing, you heard music, you heard events, you heard a football game in the Rose Bowl that was being played right now.
And Dempsey comes back with a hard right to Tunney's face. Oh, Dempsey comes on through with a terrific right. He's got Tunney against the rope. There's another right landing on the champion's jaw. But the large of left to right, and Tunney is down.
Turn your radio on, and listen to the music in the air. Turn your radio on, heaven's glory share, heaven's glory share. Turn your lights down low, and listen to the Master's radio.
Get in touch with God.
Get in touch with God, turn your radio on, turn your radio on.
And you men, you know you're sick. You know your prostate's infected and diseased. And you know that unless some relief comes to you, that you're going to be in the undertaker's parlor on the old cold slab being embalmed for a funeral.
Hello, Ralphie boy.
Hello, Mona girl. I understand you got married.
Yes, I married an X-ray specialist.
An X-ray specialist? How come?
He was the only one that could see anything in me.
The only...
Just one moment now. KDKA, in cooperation with the Pittsburgh Post and Sun, will present the latest presidential election return.
One of the first stations to broadcast regularly was KDKA in Pittsburgh. It went on the air in 1920, reporting the victory of Warren G. Harding and Calvin Coolidge over James M. Cox and a young Franklin D. Roosevelt.
At the present time, Harding has collected more than 16 million votes against some 9 million for the Democrats. We'll give you the state vote in just a moment. But first, we'd like to ask you to let us know if this broadcast is reaching you. Please drop us a card, address station KDKA, Westinghouse, East Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
But it was not long before everyone seemed to be going into broadcasting.
This is station WCAP, Washington.
Universities, newspapers, banks, department stores.
WJAR, Providence. WNAC, Boston.
In Davenport, Iowa, the Palmer School of Chiropractic had a station. So did the John Fink Jewelry Company of Fort Smith, Arkansas. And in Milford, Kansas, over station KFKB, Kansas Folks Know Best, Dr. John Romulus Brinkley lectured 3 times a day on the aphrodisiac powers of implanted goat glands.
A good love story is always tender and beautiful, but really to warm the cockles of the heart, it should have at least a hint of the unbelievable.
Folks, I have found myself a brand new honey, bright and sunny, don't care for money. We've got a system of loving, proud to say it's all our own.
Now, the scene is in the home of Marcia as she and Armand are secretly talking together. Listen.
Since all the world got onto that new radio craze.